I'm not going on any more dates anytime soon. No. No, 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 no. I'm sure you guys have seen all those articles going around about lawsuits against dating apps and how dating apps are essentially just totally ineffective. People are on there and just stay on there, and the actual success rates are so low, but then the ones that you hear about is like all you hear. So many of my friends have met their significant others on the dating apps, and I'm like, why is that not working for me? Now, I don't think all of them are necessarily compatible, I will say that, but you know, they're like, oh, it's a numbers game, you gotta just keep like blah, blah, blah. I think a lot of people like settle for people that like them back and don't wanna think deeper on like, okay, is this my forever person? Just like feels good to be loved, and the thought of getting back out there is like horrible.
And this is exactly why you're single now. Women like you do not know what you qualify for because the picture that she has in her head is what she's holding out for. But the reality is she doesn't qualify for what she's holding out for. So eventually she will be ostracized from that friend group who understand their value and understand their levels, because nothing of value stays on the shelf for long. So clearly your shelf life is showing right now.
And meeting people naturally is really, really tough now. But lately, and by lately I mean like the last 2-3 years, I've been feeling like the dating apps is just like, people play it like an actual game. The people on there that are actually looking for a relationship, I mean, I think there's just so few of them. I think in general, women are a lot more intentional than men. I think men are on there. And I heard actually a guy say this though, women are on there for validation to see like who they could get. These are all the people they could get, but that they don't actually want to talk to them. And men are on there kind of like trying to hook up. But if a relationship comes out of it, it's like a plus, but they're not necessarily on there for a relationship. I feel like with women though, like a lot of women are actually on there for a relationship, but it also is an ego boost as well, because your pool, your dating pool just got so much bigger than just like the people that you're meeting at bars and at work and whatnot. And also, I feel like a lot of people aren't working in person anymore. You're not doing as many of those happy hours. You're not like combining friend groups as much. You're just not meeting people naturally as much. So you kind of have to use the dating apps. But then the dating apps just feel like a total fucking trap. I'm like, this cannot be it.
That's because women want it as easy as the validation, the attention, and the simps that get thrown their way just for existing, and they never had to actually work for anything. But let's be honest, if the dating apps are a trap, how come it's so hard for women to get out of this trap? If they're so good, they'd be a great partner. They're, sugar spice, everything nice, they're a 10, all of this stuff. How come you guys can't keep the guy after the sex? Or how come you guys can't overcome the trap if you're so good at what you do? I never understood that.
I'm not going to stop dating necessarily. I'm going to be open to it still. But in terms of like the dating apps, I think we're just taking a little step back, just a little, you know what I mean? But it's like mentally just draining to be preparing yourself for the dates, to be talking to people, to, if a date goes well and they don't follow up, you're like, what the fuck? If the date doesn't go well, and like, how do you navigate that conversation? If you're on a date and you're like, why am I here? Or you're on, like,
Exactly. You see, women don't date with a purpose nowadays. Women look for fulfillment. They look to get as many boxes that they can get checked off. And once they get that guy, they really don't know what to do with him. And that's the thing. A lot of these women have this blueprint or prototype of guy that they want, but they've never seen this guy. They've never been with this guy. And they never have experienced it. So their expectations are way too high for something they know nothing about. And they make it harder on themselves without having any intentions to date. So if something goes wrong, or one little thing goes wrong, or I didn't really like the date, they can never overlook it. But a man will overlook that and be like, you know what? I still like this girl. I think we can, make something work. But women, nah. If one little smidget of a issue happens, it's over, bro. Like, she judges you and then she moves on. It's crazy. These women have no intentions.
These are my controversial dating non-negotiables that should not even be controversial. Firstly, if you don't have a driver's license or a car. Whoa, Tammy, did you really just say that? Yes, I did. I don't see why that's controversial. Personally, I don't really want a big massive man in my passenger seat. It's not gonna make me feel very taken care of. Also, you should have a driver's license. That's what we were doing in sixth form. Let's keep on top of things. Let's be organized. If he doesn't have his own apartment, but do you even have an apartment yourself? No, and that's why you should have one. Is this not simple maths? If we both don't have an apartment, what are we gonna do? What, sit in the park like when we're 14? What, are you gonna push me on the swing and I'll push you down the slide? Let's start getting real, yeah? We're adults. Secondly, I'm a lady.
Cap.
Don't ask me what I have and what I don't have. That's none of your business. If he's in the habit of liking girls' pictures and just spends too much time lusting over women on social media, yuck. Non-negotiable. I don't want a man filled with lust. People always try to make that like an insecurity thing, but no. Why would you want a man that's filled with lust? It's a recipe for disaster. Find better things to do in your spare time than looking at and thinking about women. That includes if it's me that you're lusting after. I'm not flattered by that. Relax. This goes without saying. Asking to do 50-50 on dates. Now, when did this become controversial? Exactly. Why would you take a lady out on a date and then ask her to pay for half of it? Shame, embarrassment, self-respect, dignity. Do you feel any of those emotions?
How the fuck you think I feel? Don't ask no dumbass questions.
Because you're not a lady. A lady is a virgin. A lady doesn't have more bodies in a cemetery and a morgue. And she does not have all these requests. She's actually looking to be in a relationship with the man. And guess who gives out the relationship? The man. So I don't know what the hell this woman is talking about. She's totally dreaming with this checklist.
So, oh no, I need to test her because she's just using me for my money. For what money? What money? The £50 for dinner. You haven't done your big one like you think you have. Men that puff up their chest to argue with women. And worse, if you're doing it online. First of all, why are you shush. Shush! Go and argue with your mates. Go and argue with other men. How can you be arguing with a lady? Yeah, but that's a double standard. If she can give it, she can take it still. Shh! Go and argue with your match, because you won't do it. If you can't abstain for at least 1 whole year, I don't.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave.
Don't understand those kind of guys that just have to be sleeping with a girl or you have to be dating a girl. It doesn't matter. You just have to. You are governed by lust. And that's not going to stop just because you get into a relationship or you get into a marriage. You're a lustful being. You need an entire lifestyle change. It's not normal to actually be constantly seeking out someone to sleep with, date, just for the sake of it. High key, it's an addiction. And by the way, I know there's going to be some angry incels in the comments saying, we don't want to be with you anyway. Or they might say, but you've got a wig on. You're wearing makeup. That makes that without all that, I'm better than you. In your dreams, you wish, go and scratch your bum somewhere else.
I mean, once you remove the coon cap yaki off of her head, wipe down all of the fake up and lipstick off of her face, and remove the push-up bra, then you start to remember who she is. And most likely there's probably a guy that's seen this video that have probably been into her comment section and be like, you know what? This is that girl we ran a train on in high school because she was sucking off all of the dudes on the football team. So this is pretty much just, make believe. Women like to prop themselves up as something that they're not. They try to make themselves seem more important when they're just, the town bicycle with a banana up their butt looking for another nut to chase.
I actually don't hear a lot of people talking about how different breakups feel when you start dating like higher echelon men and higher value men. Like when you're dating like an average guy or even like a below average guy, you guys break up and like there's shit you can hate on. You can think like, wow, he was a loser, he like was a bum, he had no drive in his life, he didn't have a job, he was a horrible boyfriend, whatever. But when you date upper level men and then have to go through breakups with them, you can't say any of that shit. The guy you were dating was educated, made lots of money, had an amazing job, took care of himself, looks good, is tall, etc., and has lots of options. Like there is nothing you can attack for your own ego. And on top of that, a lot of people in breakups love to be like, well, they're gonna regret that. They're gonna regret fumbling me. But when you're dating higher value men, they probably won't, because they can replace you like that. So yeah, I've raised my standard and I'm dating like way better guys now, but going through breakups with them is not for the weak.
Life is so funny because like one day you're living in a $10,000 a month apartment and like getting to do whatever you want and eating at Michelin star restaurants all the time and going on a vacation to the Aman Hotel in Sri Lanka and then extending the trip and going to Singapore and staying at the Ritz-Carlton. and you're with this man who you think you're gonna marry, and he's made you financially dependent on him over the course of the relationship. And then you get into a fight one night and he turns ice cold and cuts you off financially completely, and you have no cards because you've been using his card, so you don't have any money on you. And while you're sleeping, has his friend go over to the apartment that you guys have shared since like the lease began and moved in together, and like it was our apartment, and has his friend pack up all of your stuff and then drop it outside of your friend's apartment in his hallway.
I mean, this right here is totally and absolutely ridiculous. It just goes to show you these DEI hires like this woman that don't qualify for the job of being the girlfriend or being the wife because she figured, oh, just because he's taking me around and I'm just, getting all these trips. You're just a flown out floozy that's just with the guy, and the guy's treating you a certain way, telling you whatever so he can get sex out of you. You really believe that he was going to marry you. These women are so delusional, bro, and they do not qualify for the job of being that guy's girlfriend or wife. And it is nuts, man. Like, but you know what the worst thing about this is? The sad part is that seeing this lifestyle for the first time for this type of woman, you can tell, she off the bat, she has no experience. She's never been in this situation. She can't hold on to this type of guy, but she will never go back. She will never think that she needs to settle, and she will feel like it is settling to go with a regular guy. And these women get turned out, bro. It's sad. Because she'll probably end up dying alone, or she will never learn from this situation. She'll get into it or get into a situation with another guy, and he'll end up kicking her out. And then she'll be 0-2. Then what's she gonna do? Buy a dog and die alone.
It says find your way back to New York, and it's January, so when I get back to New York, I will have technically nowhere permanent to live. And there's absolutely nothing I can do because I wasn't on the lease, and he was calculating in that. And obviously this is partially my fault for making the mistake of becoming financially dependent on someone when I really didn't need to. Like, I had a career, I had tons of friends, I was happy. Yeah, we'll see.